Good evening. The meeting will come to order. This is the Marion City Council regular meeting for Thursday, March 3rd, 2016. We'll start with the call with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Ms. Pazor.
Here.
Ms. Hetzel. Present. Mr. Spinks.
Present.
Mayor Abouassili.
Here.
Mr. Brandt.
Here.
Mr. Sternun.
Present.
Mr. Draper.
Here.
We'll have a moment of silence, please. Thank you. Next, we have any citizen presentations or comments? Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak to the City Council? Yes, ma'am. Please come forward and state your name and your address. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Linda Miller. I live at 4001 North 10th Street, Marion, Iowa. And I wish to talk about Chapter 31 of the Marion Civil Rights Commission, and the topic of lawful source of income. I have a couple of fourplexes in Marion, and I'm still paying on. I have like 15 years yet to pay on them, so I'm not a rich landlord like some people would imagine. But I have a problem with the Marion ordinance for a lawful source of income, because tenants that qualify for lawful source of income are Section 8 tenants. I can't see over there. And they get a Section 8 benefit, which is, it's not a wage, it's a benefit that the county pays them. And it varies according to what their circumstances are. But when they come to me and want to rent an apartment, I am required to accept them. And a Section 8 tenant, things are not equal for a Section 8 tenant, because their Section 8 income voucher is a benefit. And when they do damage, or if they do damage to the apartment, I cannot come back on them and collect that. I cannot take them to court and get it, because it's a benefit. And that damage has to come out of my pocket. And if they don't pay their rent, or I have to evict them, that comes out of my pocket. They have no stake in it at all. And yeah, they get dropped from the Section 8 program, but that's their only punishment. And if a tenant has an income, it shouldn't be just a benefit that can't be garnished or anything. Other government programs like food stamps, the general public are not required, or a renter is not property owner is not required to take that. So I just don't understand how they can require a Section 8 landlord to rent to Section 8 tenants. It's just not fair. And right now, the way it is, when I advertise an apartment, I have to say I have to accept Section 8 if they qualify for it. And like I said, there's no way I can come back on them for anything that happens in that apartment. Thank you.
So I got a question for you. So the Section 8 will not pay for any damages?
No, nothing.
Now, they used to, correct?
I I've only been a landlord for 10 years.
Yeah, so it must have been a while ago then.
It possibly was a while ago, I don't know, but like I said, I'm still paying money on these apartments. I can't afford for a tenant to come in and trash the place,
So they
let
have-
alone evict them.
So they have no liability whatsoever?
They have no liability.
Yeah. So they leave you high and dry as a
They,
landlord?
yeah, they leave the property owner high and dry.
Okay, thank you.
Well, I
Thank you.
know that it costs to evict.
Yes, it's about $85, I think.
Which-
And then I have to also go down to the courthouse.
And then pay for the sheriff's department to move them out, and that whole hassle.
Yep, and you have, if they have a lot of furniture, then I can't move it out myself. I have to hire somebody to help move it out for me. It just turns into just a really expensive foray into into a problem there. And I just don't think it's fair to require, some landlords take Section 8.
So
I know
this-
Kelly Properties does, but, I mean, they're a lot bigger than me, a retired woman who's, got some apartments, but
So
but
this
I
is
thought
in
I was
our
gonna have to live
Marion-
in.
This is
Pardon?
in the Marion code then?
This
It's
is in
the
Marion.
City Code?
Yes,
That was adopted last year, I believe.
correct.
And-
About a year and a half ago, I think, or a year ago,
Half ago.
yeah, somewhere in there. Yeah, and
Oh,
it was a
other-
surprise. I mean, it didn't get brought before the council for public opinion. It was just there. It was a surprise.
So as other cities have this, like Cedar Rapids,
Cedar Rapids fought it.
they fought it,
Cedar Rapids fought it, and they did not accept it.
okay?
And
They did not accept what?
they did not accept lawful source of income. The same thing was presented to the city of Cedar Rapids
Now,
by the Civil
they-
Rights Commission.
they have to rent to them?
No. Cedar Rapids voted it down. That's why I don't understand how all of a sudden it just came here and it was in.
I don't recall voting on anything like that.
I don't think you
Okay.
guys did, maybe, I don't know, but
Well, we can certainly look at it
yes.
and
we just
Get
want the
input
words
and-
lawful source of income struck from it. Other than that, it's fine. It's just lawful source of income is the only thing that I have a problem with.
okay,
Thank
thank
you.
you, thank you. Are there other people who want to speak on this same topic? How many people want to speak on the same topic? Okay, so you're all welcome to speak. We'll just ask that if something's already been said, please try not to repeat what's already been said, but if you have another point to make, that would be helpful. So, sir, please state your name and address. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Joe Stutler. I live at 2647 29th Ave in Marion. As an aside, in full disclosure, I serve on the Marion Civil Rights Commission. I am not here as a representative of that commission, nor am I speaking officially on behalf of the commission, but simply as a citizen with concerns about our community. I understand that some people may not like to rent to other people for various reasons, and there are many reasons that a landlord could screen out a prospective renter, many, many, many reasons. But as I was thinking about this issue has come to our council, to the commission rather, several times in an informal manner. We had an interesting discussion last night with some of the people present, I would imagine on both sides of this issue. But as I was thinking about it, one of the statements that was made last night, and what I've just heard again, is that there is a difference between one person's money and another person's money. And so I hold up two $1 bills. These are two $1 bills. These both came out of the bank. This one came out of my wife's bank account. She has a W-2 statutory employee job, a normal job. Yes, my wife has a job. She works for a living. This one came out of my bank account. I do not have a job. I guess I'm one of those bums or one of those takers or one of those people, as I've heard us referred to. But my income comes from the United States Department of Veteran Affairs. You see, I'm a service-connected disabled veteran. I've had difficulty for many years in maintaining work, getting work, finding work. So presently, I don't work. I get a disability check. This is what it looks like. This is what my wife's W-2 money looks like. If you can show me the difference in the value of these $2 bills, then I will buy the argument that somehow or other, me, a disabled veteran, is less worthy of housing in this community. Somehow or other, my money has to be just as good as anybody with a job. You know, you might disagree with me, but I think I earned it serving on the line between the United States, West Germany, and East Germany during the Cold War, and then during Desert Storm, which, by the way, today is the 25th anniversary of the end of that war. So here I am 25 years later, and I'm being told that me, a disabled war veteran, my money's no good here. That's very troubling. But as I looked at this issue more, I called the Cedar Rapids Civil Rights Commission staff, who act as our staff on the Marion Civil Rights Commission. We contract that out with a 2080 agreement that's currently undergoing some new negotiations, and you guys will be seeing that soon here once Cedar Rapids approves it through their process. But currently, they're our staff. And when I called my staff today and I said, staff, how many complaints have we had in Marion about lawful source of income since the Chapter 31's inception several years ago? Well, Commissioner Stutler, we've had zero, formal or informal. We've had zero complaints. I said, thank you. That's interesting to know. I said, how many landlords have come to you and said, hey, we've got some concerns that maybe this lawful source of income might cause us some problems with advertising. Maybe we can't, say certain things or whatever. So we'd like you to look at the advertising to make sure that we're within compliance. They said, Commissioner Stutler, we've had zero landlords do anything of the sort. So what I'm hearing is that there are no landlords that really have any concerns that are significant enough to have brought it forward and had it actually dealt with. The sky is falling, but I haven't felt a single piece fall. This is a non-issue. The reason that lawful source of income was put in there initially throughout many places in the United States is because some landlords would find ways to discriminate against those other protected classes. Like, we don't want that disabled vet in here because, what if he goes PTSD? We don't want those people with more tan than they should have because, we have a hard time suing them, those poor people, so we won't take the Section 8. Well, I will tell you that, yes, you can sue somebody that gets Section 8 or, a benefit or whatever you want to call it. It is still money that is made available to that person for some specific reason. It's done in a lawful manner. But remember, their money, this money is not good enough for some people here. But let's take a look at this from the disability point of view. You don't want to rent to a disabled person. Interesting. But the law says you have to treat us all equal. Disability is a protected class. All right, well, let's change it up a little bit so that, we don't want to take your money, your VA money, and we'll come up with a reason. We'll say, oh, it's hard to sue them. You know what? It's just as hard to sue somebody that's a W-2 employee if they're not making a lot of money. You got a single mom out there working 2 jobs. You got a 2-parent family working 3, 4 jobs, making minimum wage with no benefits. But because they're a W-2 statutory employee, you can sue them. Yeah, and you're going to get the same out of them as you're going to get if you sued me. Nothing. It's called judgment proof from a legal perspective because we got no money. We got these really empty pockets. Me being a disabled person, somebody else being a poor person on W-2, somebody else getting Section 8. They're all equally likely to have a difficult time of going after them, litigation-wise. So there is no advantage to W-2. Not down at this level where we're actually talking. Now, I have a business degree as well. I'm not just a military guy. And in my business school, going to school, they taught us things like there's a cost to doing business. There are costs to doing business. You have to pay for the lighting. You have to pay for the heat. You have to pay for the rent or ownership or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Landlords have costs of doing business. And one of those things is insurance. There's insurance available for landlords so that if a tenant does trash the place, it's covered. If a tenant skips out on rent, it's covered. Legal expenses, covered. This insurance is available. A shrewd business person should be taking care of their organization by making sure that they're insured. If you're not, well, more fool you. So my concerns on this is that I don't want to see my community decide that my money is no good here, and her money is no good here, and her money is no good here, and his money is no good here. We're all Marionites. Why would we want to push people away? Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Shoot, I thought he was going to bribe us there for a minute when he started flashing those dollar bills around.
You're looking at somebody with really shallow pockets.
Hi.
Hi, my name is Kim Gordon. I live at 2045 Pleasant View Drive, Marion, Iowa. I am also a Marion Civil Rights Council or board member. I also manage 800 properties in Cedar Rapids, and I do have affiliation with probably about another 20 more in the Marion area. I also worked 9 years for the City of Cedar Rapids Leased Housing Office. Lawful source of income does not mean that a landlord has to take the Section 8 voucher. It means they need to consider that when looking at the applicant. That means that a landlord in Marion needs to have good business practices and have policies in place that establish how they decide who they're going to rent to or not. That means they take into consideration all factors when determining if this is a good person to live in their unit. They're checking their prior rental history. They're checking their credit. They're verifying that stuff. The purpose of the lawful source of income is so that the landlord just does not make the blanket statement, I don't take leased housing, okay? That's like calling Yonkers and saying, I want to buy a red dress. There's lots of red dresses. You need to go in, you need to screen your tenants, you need to make a business decision on what your practices are, okay? So I want to put that myth aside. It does not mean that everyone in Section 8 qualifies for your unit. The landlord still has the ability to set the rent. The landlord still has the ability to set the deposit. There are remedies to recover damages, and I've been doing this for about 20 years. I have worked on high-end properties. I've worked on low-income properties. There is substantial risk involved when you do this type of business, and people leave unexpectedly for lots of reasons, whether they're high income or low income. Another myth is that this will affect the seller in what type of offer that they would like to take in a home sale position. This is not true. An FHA loan does not take precedent over any other type of offer that you get. Again, the lawful source of income is just an additional protected class just as any of the others. So as a seller just needs to make a good faith decision based on non-discriminatory reasons. So if there's 3 offers on the table and one is an FHA, one is a cash, and one is a conventional, the seller needs to decide what is my reasoning for taking that. And it could be the cash offer because it closes sooner. It could be the FHA because it's $4,000 more. Again, it's the seller needs to make that on a non-discriminatory basis. And I think there's a lot of assumptions that, receiving any type of subsidy in that is going to set a precedent, and that's not correct. I just encourage all of you guys to research this a little bit. I think the fact that Marion has this in their ordinance just resonates our thinking forward. The state of Iowa has set many precedents in are protected classes. The city of Marion's just doing the same. Don't let a few people with misinformation guide you guys in a decision that truly impacts a lot of people in the city of Marion. Thank you.
Your Honor,
Thank you.
I would like to ask Linda Miller, are you aware of the insurance type thing that you can obtain to cover damages, et cetera?
My insurance that I have on my properties is $1,000 deductible. And I do have one Section 8 tenant, and he is handicapped, and I have no trouble with him. What I have a problem with is being told that I may have to rent to a Section 8 tenant. I should be able to make that decision based upon the background of the tenant and things like that. Like I said, I have a handicapped Section 8 tenant. He's blind.
Okay.
I've never had any problems with him.
Okay.
But when I bought the buildings, there were two Section 8 tenants, this guy and a lady. And the lady couldn't even come up, I think it was $40 or something like that, or $6 she had to come, she couldn't come up with that a month.
Okay.
And she trashed the place. And that is what I am trying to be sure that I don't have a problem with.
Thank you. We do need to hear
Thank you.
from everybody else. And obviously, we need to look at the ordinance and so that we can know what you're talking about and we can discuss it. But from what I'm hearing, we need to go back and look at it and just and see. But it seems to me that, I mean, from what I've heard, the language doesn't require you to rent to someone, but it just prohibits you from discriminating based on that criterion. But again, I'll have to look at it myself. We'll all have to look at it. But anyone else would like to speak, please come up.
Good evening, Council.
Yes, sir.
My name is Gary Grimm. I live at 1848 3rd Avenue Southeast in Cedar Rapids. I've been a landlord for approximately 36 years. I've got 20 properties, all single-family houses, 18 of which are in Cedar Rapids in the older sections, Wellington Heights and Mountain View area. I've got 2 single families in Marion. I've been involved with, on and off with Section 8 for 25 to 30 years. Back in the mid to late 80s, I had 4 apartments and 4 single-family houses, all on Section 8, and that represented half of my units. Off and on, over the years, I've taken some Section 8. I've currently am not taking it anymore for various reasons. If you kind of want to know the difference between Marion and Cedar Rapids as far as taking Section 8, if a prospective tenant, I've got a house for rent, either Cedar Rapids or Marion, they call me up and say, will you take Section 8? In Cedar Rapids, I can say, no, I'm not taking it at this time, and it's a 30-second phone call. In Marion, if that same person calls me up, because I've got a rental property in Marion, I cannot say that because of the way your lawful source of income is in there. I have to say, yes, I can consider you, and I'll show you the property. You can fill out an application for me, and I'll run your application. Now, as Kim back there has said, I agree with her that still a landlord does not have to take Section 8. There are other things that they can check on their criminal background of the tenant, of their employment. The biggest thing is that there's a difference between a regular tenant that comes to you off the street and a person that's qualifying for Section 8. Section 8 has an inspection process, much like the city of Marion and Cedar Rapids have, only theirs is far more in-depth, totally far more in-depth. Marion and Cedar Rapids can't compare to how in-depth the Section 8 leased housing does. And we can say, no, if the house doesn't qualify, we do not have to accept that person as Section 8. But I can have another tenant come right out, and the house as is, I can rent to them. So I guess what I'm saying is the way you have to qualify now, if a person calls me up for a Marion property, I have to spend the time to take their application, run it, which takes 2 or 3 days to do that, and then if I even accept them, then the house has to be inspected, and that's a week later, a week to 2 weeks. And if the house doesn't qualify, or if I choose not to do anything with it, I've lost possible other tenants, and I've also lost the time involved there. So I've been highly involved with Section 8, their program, even their lease is different. Their lease is different compared to the state code lease. And in talking with many landlords over the years, lots of people say that the landlord's lease is geared towards the landlord. And for the most part, if you make out your own lease, it usually is. If you go by the state lease, state code, it's about equal, 50-50 for landlord and tenant. Section 8, that's a federal government program. Been around for, I don't know how long, 40, 50 years. And it's because it's federal money going out to the tenant, they protect that money. They want the house like a brand new house. They expect the tenant to pay their share. That's true. But I personally have had problems with Section 8 to the point that I no longer want it because of they're so geared towards the tenant. They don't even allow you, it used to be anyhow, they didn't even allow you to use your own lease, which mine would be a state code lease. It was their lease or that. Another thing is they want you to take a 1 year's lease, automatic 1 year lease, and then it goes month to month thereafter. I don't have a problem with the month by month because that's all I do anymore is month to month leases. So if I have a problem with the tenant, I can ask them to leave. And I have done that. So I guess what I'm asking for is if you could possibly look over the source of income, and if that gets taken out, it's not going to affect that much anywhere, Marion, Cedar Rapids, in the state, because people can still take Section 8 if they choose to. The other thing is, if the Section 8 program was really that good for landlords, generally Section 8 has about 1,200, money for about 1,200 individuals in the county. Generally, on the other hand, they've only got about 1,100 of those individuals out there. And I have to ask myself, because several years ago, 3-4 years ago it's been, Section 8 stopped taking people, the low-income people, on their list. They had over 3,000 individuals on their waiting list. They had to stop taking those individuals. I'm wondering, why aren't the landlords, if there's so many, if the program is that great, why aren't all the landlords wanting those Section 8 tenants to come in? After all, Section 8 comes right out and says, you know, it's money guaranteed by the federal government. Okay? That isn't entirely true, because I ran into a problem a year and a half ago where a Section 8 tenant passed away. Passed away on July 22nd, which was a Sunday. Well, Saturday night. Sunday it was in the paper, the death. Monday, well, Tuesday, I get a letter from Section 8 saying that they're shutting off the funds as of August 1st. And I couldn't believe it. The person was not even buried in the ground. That didn't happen until Thursday. I and the tenant's family got a letter from Section 8. I went down there and asked what's going on. And they said they have somebody reading the paper every day looking for any Section 8 people that have passed away. That doesn't make sense to me. I mean, just from a purely religion standpoint, why would you do that? They shut off the funds. They gave me 1 week. Generally, there's no leases in the country that shut off funds with less than a 30-day notice to anybody. And I thought that this was in my lease with them, and went down and argued it. They handed me paperwork that showed it was in the lease. However, it wasn't in my original lease with Section 8 leased housing. So I no longer like Section 8 anymore. So I'm just asking that you consider that, and if the lawful source of income comes out, not really many, as Mr. Stotler stated, not many people are going to be affected by it. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you for your
Thank you.
consideration.
Hi, Angelica Vanetta, 2600 Copper Drive in Marion, Iowa. Also, in full disclosure, I am a member of the Marion Civil Rights Commission, although speaking strictly on my own, but certainly would like to echo what Kim and Joe have said. I just have a few additional things that I want to make sure that the council is aware of. It is my understanding that both Iowa City and Dubuque are looking at making sure that lawful source of income is included. I believe Iowa City may have actually recently passed that. So there are other communities in Iowa of similar size as Marion that does include lawful source of income. I also just want to add, obviously the Civil Rights Commission was added because our population is up above 30,000. So we're a growing community, right? We're one of the top 2 growing communities along with North Liberty. And so we want to be a welcoming community. As a person of color, you want to make sure that it is that they do feel that they're welcome. And let's be honest, a good majority, not all of them, with Section 8 are individuals of color, or veterans, people and disabilities. And that's just something that I think is really important as the community grows. That we need to just be welcoming and inclusive of all of those groups. So thank you. That's all I needed to add.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Cheryl Donnell, and my address is 4809 Old Mill Court, Cedar Rapids. Bob, my significant other, does own a property here in Marion. I'm also a realtor, and I do sales in Marion. We have an Iowa Realty office here. I'm not speaking on behalf of Iowa Realty or the real estate community. I'm also a landlord and plan to buy properties in Marion, depending on certain things that come up here. We're not here to cut down the Section 8 program tonight. There are some people that liked to use Section 8 benefits for their tenants, and it works for them. But we are a business as a landlord. We want to choose which type of source of income we want to use when we rent property. We want to have the option to choose which type of financing our sellers can use. Under lawful source of income as a protected class, we would be discriminating if we don't have that option. We would have to consider all of them equally. And they're not equal. Sources of income are not equal. Protected classes in the past should be treated equally because they are equal. Sources of income all have different benefits and risks which make them unequal. When lawful source of income is a protected class, how can someone take cash over the FHA offer when the FHA offer is more money? it isn't the same to take an FHA offer or a cash offer. Cash, you're guaranteed. FHA has many risks along the way before the closing. There's appraisals, there's all kinds of things. So how can we say that those sources of money are the same? They're not. These are businesses, and we need to be able to make business decisions. And like I say, some of these government-assisted programs are a good benefit for some people. Others, it's not. They've had bad experiences. They should have the right to have that choice. I was part of the group in Cedar Rapids that we did have a discussion on this issue, and the City Council of Cedar Rapids decided to take out lawful source of income from their civil rights ordinance, like Chapter 31 here in Marion. This is being proposed in many communities here. It was proposed at the federal level and declined. They understood that sources of income are not equal. They should not be a protected class like race, religion, those types of categories, because those are equal. If you have questions, I'd be glad to answer them. I've worked quite a bit on this issue, and yes, Iowa City did pass lawful source of income 2 weeks ago. They're the second city in the state of Iowa that has passed it. I believe Marion passed it without discussion, and we would like to have the opportunity to have discussion and consideration of leaving your civil rights ordinance the same, except take out lawful source of income so our businesses in Marion can have a choice.
Thank you.
We're not saying it's a bad thing to take government-assisted money, and we would never want to eliminate people, but in the end, we don't want to be accused of discrimination because we took a certain type of money.
Thank you. Ma'am? Ma'am?
Jahnel, Jahnel.
Hi, I'm Bob Mitchell from 4809 Old Mill Court in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. I'm an investor. I do have properties in Marion. And on a personal note, I've been promoted from significant other to fiancé. So anyway, to start, Kim and I have a difference of opinion on reading this law as to whether there is a equal on source of income as far as selling my properties. And so when you do review the law as far as whether a FHA and a cash offer, I'll take a scenario where the cash offer is $100,000 and the FHA is $102,000. The way I read the law is that you have, if everything else is equal, you have to take the $102,000 FHA. So if you would have your legal staff check on that, and so us non-lawyers have a difference of opinion on that, so that'd be something I'd like you to look at. I'm skipping down some stuff because so much of it already has been covered. I'd like to regroup or say again, if you really want Section 8 to be a beneficial class, it should be advantageous to the landlords to use it. Other government programs are not mandatory, just like the food stamp program. I'm kind of relating it to that. You, as a businessman, you can decide what you want to do, whether you want to take it or not. And as far as insurance, I looked into the insurance, and I also have, I'm wondering, why would I want to raise my rents for everybody to cover an insurance policy that is only needed for a Section 8? And also on Section 8 equal, it is, really the two are not equal. I think it was brought up, but I want to make sure it's clarified that if I do sue a Section 8 customer, I cannot collect from them. A non-Section 8 customer, I can collect and I can garnish their wages for up to a 20-year period. And I've had that work for me. So at the point when I garnished, they didn't have any money, but within 20 years they settled down. They wanted to buy a house, and they had to cover my garnishment before they were able to buy a house. Let's see if I have anything else. And then it was brought up that basically it's a non-issue as far as in Marion, and I'm wondering, if it is a non-issue, why do we have a law covering a non-issue? It just made me wonder on that one. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there, oh, there's one more? Okay.
Hi, my name's Steve Mosier. I'm at 118 39th Street in Marion. For disclosure, I'm the current chair of the Marion Civil Rights Commission. And just for clarification, the council passed the ordinance in 2012. This was part of the ordinance at that time. So for 4 years, there hasn't been any complaints, hasn't been any disgruntled landlords. But all of a sudden now, because it's going on in some other communities, it's now coming to light. But the thing is that we're willing to sit down and visit with them to find out what's really wrong with the ordinance or that particular section, because there's some misinformation. The way I read it, the way it says, and the fact that it's in black and white, it doesn't say that you're required at all. And if there's some language that they're not happy with, we're willing to revisit that language on behalf of the council and make a recommendation to the council on what could be changed or not. But it's not that to just say that it should be eliminated. We should look first at trying to work through our differences, come to some mutual understanding, and move forward than to just say let's eliminate it and open up the opportunity for discrimination. So I just want to leave that with the council, that if you so desire, the commission be willing to revisit that and visit with the group to figure out what it is that they'd like to see as opposed to eliminating it altogether. Okay?
Thank you.
That's mine.
Okay. Well, thank you everyone for bringing the issue forward. I think we need to read the ordinance and educate ourselves on these issues before we can decide whether or not something needs to be done. But I'm sure that we'll be looking for input and information from everyone. Okay. Anyone else who come on forward?
Hi, I'm Tina Patterson. I'm the Vice President of the Linn-Mar School Board. What you're getting there, actually, Marion, hijack this a minute so you all can see. This message is kind of a follow-up for the council because I believe you were all given invitations to this website earlier today, or if you haven't been, you will be getting them. As Linn-Mar moves along in its strategic planning for the future, we're asking our community for their input. This is an invitation, all of you as well, anybody else, your neighbors, your friends, share this website with them. It's a thing called Thought Exchange, and we want to know from our patrons, from our community, where you see Linn-Mar going in the future, what you want to see happen with Linn-Mar. So we're going to take all this information, we're going to add it to our strategic planning and see what kind of messages we're getting from our community. So we would really like your input on this. We'd really like you to share this with other members of the community and see how many people we can get to chime in and have their voices heard.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else for public comment? Okay, we'll move on with our agenda.
Yes, Your Honor. I would like to make a motion to approve the consent calendar as presented, items number 1 through 23. This would to include the following resolutions. Resolution number 25142, Resolution 25143, Resolution 25144, Resolution number 25145, Resolution number 25146, Resolution number 25147, Resolution number 25148, Resolution number 25149, Resolution number 25150, Resolution number 25151, Resolution number 25152, Resolution number 25153, and Resolution number 25154.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve the consent calendar as presented, items numbers 1 through 23, including resolution numbers 25142 through 25154. Any discussion?
Yes, sir, Your Honor. I would like to eliminate, well, not eliminate, but bring number 22 for consideration.
Separately?
Yes, please.
Is that okay to remove number 22 for separate consideration? So excluding number 22. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. Okay, then will you please make the motion for number 22?
Yes, Your Honor, making motion to receive and file correspondence regarding the Marion Election Code, Charles Knudsen, 2835 24th Avenue.
Second.
Okay. Moved and seconded to approve a motion to receive and file correspondence regarding the Marion Election Code from Mr. Knudsen. Discussion.
Yes, sir. I did not have this letter in my original agenda packet, and it had to do with people continuing this idea about nominating from the ward and then voting from the ward. But if an individual was to either move out of town or move from the ward to which he was elected, then he would have to give up his council seat. And I just want this out there so that it's another thought as far as what we're charging legal with to come up with. Also, the 2 at-large seats, I think, should be considered in order to be equitable. There would be a north side at large and a south side at large, and the north side would be selected from wards 2 and 4, and the south side from wards 1 and 3, and that way there would be equal, and then the mayor would be voted on, complete, total, absolute city. But the other would be only voted on by those particular wards.
Okay, any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion to receive and file the correspondence, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. Okay, the motion passes. Mr. Draper?
Yes, Your Honor. Motion to approve the consent calendar with Mayor Abbasali abstaining on the voting on the following items. Item number 24 is a motion to approve the project calendar regarding engineering payments as follows. Resolution 25-155, approving partial payment number 6 to Shive Hattery, Inc. in the amount, for the 2016
Art in the Alley project in the amount of $2,817. Resolution 25156, approving Edgebrook Estates North Addition preliminary plat for property located east of Indian Creek Road and south of Tower Terrace Road Extension, Midwest Development Company.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve the second part of the consent calendar, including resolutions number 25155 and 25156. Discussion? No discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. And abstain. At this time, we have a public hearing regarding the fiscal year 2016-2017 budget. Public input? That's first? Is that right? Okay. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak in favor?
Can I say
sorry.
one thing? At a prior council meeting, we did leave one item on the table for a decision point with council, and it was that additional parks operator position. If you would like to revisit that now, it would be $70,000 out of the general fund, so it would not impact the tax levy amount. So if you remember, 2 parks operator positions were requested, 1 was funded, and council discussed 2 council meetings ago whether or not you wanted to fund that second position. So that might be something you want to discuss before we move into the public hearing.
Okay. You have any?
Sure, if I could. At the last council meeting, I kind of broke down the 2 positions with the council, did a review of the initiatives and objectives for the department, and just to do a quick review with council to recap on the positions. The request in the FY17 budget, the parks budget, was 2 equipment operators. One of the equipment operator positions would be assigned more towards infrastructure improvements. When I talk about infrastructure improvements, things like the Waldo's Rock Park development project, things like Lau Park development, our build out of our playground equipment. An example would be fitness trail equipment over at Hannah Park, a project that we did last year. Cemetery road improvements that we do with our own crews in-house. Those are the type of activities that one equipment operator would be doing. The other proposal I had for the second equipment operator was that individual would be assigned more towards maintenance within the park system, and then that expands beyond the park system with all the other duties that the Parks and Rec Department has now with outside maintenance of almost all of our city facilities. That includes snow removal, mowing in the summertime, outside building maintenance. Even to some extent, we're getting into indoor facility maintenance too. An example, just this past week, I believe it was fire department, the building number 2, had a water heater go down. The individual that they usually hire to come in and do that was not available, so they called us and say, hey, can you guys help us out? And we did send one of our employees out and replace the water heater out at Fire 2. So those are examples of the differences between the 2 positions that I'm talking about. Some other things that have come to light recently, and this was even before I did the 2 proposal, is the new adjustments with the Affordable Health Care Act and how that impacts our seasonal employees, where we have what we consider our full-time seasonal employees that would work, and this affects 10 employees currently, that would work 8 months a year. Now, with changes in the Affordable Health Care Act, that has to be reduced down to 6 months. So that's that's over 3,000 man-hours that we have a gap now that we have to try to figure out what we're going to do with that. Now we can look at filling some of that with some other additional seasonal employees, front end, back end, but basically what was an April through November season now gets changed to May through October. So we do have some gaps right now in being able to do our coverage. We run our operations division currently with 7 full-time employees, 2 supervisors, 3 equipment operators, and 2 what we call a utility 2 positions. Basically, utility 2 is a working position, does not require a CDL license. The last time that we added to the equipment operator in parks, I believe we go back to 2002, when the last time we added an equipment operator in the Parks Department. So we've increased the duties overall with the department, and we're at that point where we really need to look at expanding those positions within the department. Just a scenario that I'll give you with 7 employees within the department. Most of these are full-time employees that have been with the city for several years. They've built up a lot of vacation time, and we have to limit how many employees that we can have go on vacation at a time. We limit it to 2 right now, which does add to some problems within the department when you can only allow 2 employees to go off on vacation at the same time. We're running that in April. We have 2 employees that want to be off. That leaves 5 full-time employees to do the work of the department in April, which is a busy time of year. And it's hard to tell those employees, no, you can't take your vacation time when they have certain activities scheduled. So there are some of the issues that we're faced with right now. Last thing that I will say, I do understand that the city manager is trying to deliver a fiscally responsible budget to the city council, and I always do support the final decision of the city manager and the city council.
And what was the recommendation of the city manager?
Well, it's up to council. If you were to want to move forward with this second operator position, his recommendation would be to have it come out of the general fund balance so that there's no impact to the proposed tax rate. That impact would be bring the fund balance to 36.4% from the current estimated. I'm sorry, 35.9% from the estimated 36.4, which is still above the 35% target that we try to hit each year.
Amanda, what was our impact on that? Obviously, the decision made on the second employee for the library, those funds were going to go back into the general fund as well. Will that offset this even more?
Yep, because that $16,000 will just go back into the general fund, so that would potentially offset this amount, which would be $70,000 if it were for the full fiscal year.
And that's included in the 35.9% you just quoted, correct?
Correct.
Mike, what was so you were saving how much by only having the seasonal instead of being, we had talked about this before, but I can't remember it. How much are you saving by the seasonal employees only being able to work their hours cut?
The total amount that, with the reduction in hours, comes up to around a little over $40,000 if I subtract that off, is what we're looking at right now. Now, again, I'll go back and say that the recommendation for the 2 equipment operators came before I even knew that we were going to be impacted by the ACA. So I still need to fill some of those positions on the front end and the back end of the season with some seasonal employees. Now, can I play with that number a little bit and reduce that down? That's something that I've been looking at also, to help out overall with the budget. Mm-hmm. But we still depend heavily on those seasonal employees to do our total coverage.
Did you say the last time you added an equipment operator was 2002?
The last time we added a new equipment operator position, I believe, goes back to 2002. Now, with that, I'll say that we have added some full-time employees, but those were utility 2 positions.
Your Honor?
Yes, ma'am.
I think with the addition of the trails and all, I think that I am in favor of increasing the 2 equipment operators for the parks.
And it's parks that is out on the trails, actually clearing all the trails.
We do all
the sidewalks.
We do all of the trails right now.
Okay, with
trails, and city-owned sidewalks. We have over 20 miles of sidewalks, trails that we clear every snow.
Your Honor,
Yes.
I'm not going to speak as the acting city manager, but it is my understanding that city manager's left this completely up to you, that it's not that big a deal to him either way. But as the chief of police in Marion here, we used to do our own work, our own mowing and everything, but the place we have now is 5.5 acres. And if it wasn't for Mike and his people, we wouldn't be able to keep that up. And he can't get even with 2 people there, he can't get it done in a day. And sometimes we have to wait because they're so short-handed. So I have to agree with Mary Lou's. I really think this is something needed, but it is sorry, Mary, did I shock you? Didn't mean to. But I do think this is something that Mike could use, just on a personal opinion.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking from 2002, the city's probably grown by 30% since then. We've added parks, we've added lots of trails. I don't know that we had trails back then, or maybe we had a few. But we've added lots of trails. We've added facilities and sidewalks, and
There has, again, I don't want to give you the opinion that we have not added full-time employees within the department, because there had been some changes in structure with additional supervisor position. But as far as the equipment operator, that's the one that hasn't really increased over that period of time.
okay.
We need a motion on this.
So do we need to amend the proposed?
Public hearing.
One second.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'll actually cover this one. At this point, we cannot increase the levy. So what we would basically have to do is wait until July and do a budget amendment that would bump up for the Parks Department.
So there's nothing to do on this at this point?
Correct. We would have to pass the budget as we have published. You can't increase the levy. We could decrease the levy, but we can't increase.
So we weren't changing the levy.
We weren't.
So what we would have to do, like I said again, is a budget amendment in July that would then bump the parks budget up for that
But for
additional
tonight-
employee.
For tonight's purpose, though, we have the option of yaying or naying the
Correct.
expenditures for this position through this fiscal year.
Correct. I think Lon wanted to know what direction so that we could plan ahead.
So is that a vote, or is it just,
Yes, take a vote. Yes.
okay, will someone make a motion? We've opened the public hearing. Do we do this now or later?
You can do it after the public hearing.
After? Okay, so we'll proceed with the public hearing. We'll proceed with the public hearing. Is there anyone who wishes to speak on this subject? Yes, ma'am. Would you please come forward and state your name and address? Thank you.
Kathy Green, 1942 Galway Drive in Marion. The tax rate is going to be $13.82. You guys decided that Tuesday night. If you didn't have the 2 additional part-time employees from the library, that was going to lower a penny. So now he is asking for a $70,000 extra person. What's that going to do to the tax rate?
The proposal is to have that come out of the general fund balance that's already existing, so it would not impact.
You will not alter to
It would
that
not raise that.
1382.
It would not raise that.
That's what I want to know. Thank
Yes.
you.
Good question. Thank you. Any other public input? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing.
Against?
Well, there's none at all, against or for. Anyone?
Oh, okay. Okay. Let's make sure we covered everybody.
Yes. Anyone else who wishes to speak on the topic of the budget? Okay, we'll close the hearing. And we'll bring it here for
Your
discussion.
Honor, okay, now you want the motion to include the,
I would assume you would want a motion to include the addition of a parks
okay, you want
equipment
that as an
operator.
amendment to the one right?
I believe we have a discussion first.
You won't be amending it now, you'll be amending it into the budget in July.
Okay, so the resolution just as it stands.
Yes.
Okay, Your Honor, I move to approve Resolution 25,157, approving the fiscal year 16-17 budget.
Second?
With amendment to be added later.
It has been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 25157, approving the fiscal year 2016-17 budget. Discussion. Any discussion? Yes, sir.
Amanda, you said that this changed the general fund to 36.4, is that right?
35.9.
35.9.
Adding, if you add.
So,
the parts.
the question I'd ask on it is, see, last year, at the end of the last year budget, it was at 40%. Is that, or where did we end up with at the last year's budget? That was my question.
Right now, we're projecting it to end at around 40%. Those are Lon's current projections.
Okay, so we had, at last year's budget, we predicted around 36% as well.
Correct, and it came in well over that estimate.
Okay, and so, again, we're at 35.9. So there's reason to believe that that will be more than that at the end of the year, even with the addition of this operator.
Yep, that is a possibility.
Yeah, and so, let's see, Luann, we got $6.2 million for the balance, the general fund balance. That's what you're estimating for this year?
The email that I actually sent you was the ending fund balance right now in the general fund as of February 29th. Now keep in mind, like I stated in my email, property taxes are paid in March and we will receive a distribution in April. And the last time, say October, we received over $4 million. So that was the general fund alone, if that gives you an idea of where we might end up.
Okay, now I got, so that's what we're at right now then?
Correct.
Okay. And then the second question, union negotiations, those are done, are accounted for?
Yeah, well, to answer the question that you had regarding whether the police union contract was included in this year's budget, it was. It's approximately a $118,000 impact to the proposed budget.
And it's in there then?
Correct, yes.
Okay. Was that to the police? Is that who that was?
They're getting close. Completely signed off yet, but they're getting close.
Okay. So let's see, you answered, so the budget, the way you talked about it right now, for a $100,000 home increases the amount by $11.95. A $200,000 home would be $23.90. Does that still stand?
Yep, that's correct.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Thank you for your replies, both of you.
Any other discussion on the proposed budget? So, Amanda, just so I'm clear, do we or do we not need a separate vote on accepting the second operator, equipment operator position? We don't need an actual vote on that?
I'll defer to Don on that one.
Yes, I think it would be a good idea.
So after we vote on the budget, we can have a motion, separate motion for that?
I think it'd be good, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Any other discussion on the proposed budget? Okay, we'll vote. All those in favor of resolution number 25157 approving the fiscal year 2016-17 budget, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. Okay, now will someone make a motion for the second equipment operator position?
Your Honor, I move to add the second operator for the Parks Department.
Second.
Okay, it has been moved and seconded that we approve the addition of a second equipment operator position for the Parks Department. Discussion.
Would we add the fact that that budget is coming out of the general fund and not the property tax fund? Can we add that to the amendment?
I think we need to.
You want that added also?
I would. Okay.
We can put that in the text of the resolution.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's the understanding anyway.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Any discussion?
Nope.
All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. Okay.
My turn. Ordinance number 16-02, amending Chapter 105 of the Code of Ordinances to allow for municipal collections of designated non-residential generators. Second consideration.
Second.
Who seconded?
I did.
Okay. It has been moved and seconded to approve ordinance number 16-02, amending chapter 105 of the Code of Ordinances to allow for municipal collections of designated non-residential generators. This is a second consideration. Discussion.
Your Honor, I had a phone call from an individual who knows that I just had a generator installed at my house, and he said, "Are they going to charge you for extra for having this generator?" I said, "No, no, no. These are the people who are generating the trash." But I thought it was nice that somebody was concerned.
Any other discussion? All those in favor of ordinance number 16-02, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no.
Your Honor, I would move, if there has been nothing forthcoming as far as objections to this, I would move to suspend the rules and place for final consideration.
Second.
Okay, it has been moved and seconded that we suspend the rules and place this ordinance out for final consideration. All those in favor of suspending the rules, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. Okay, so this is where I always get confused. Do we need to now vote on the final consideration?
Final
Okay.
consideration.
So, all those in favor of ordinance number 16-02, final consideration, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. Motion passes. Thank you.
Takes care of that.
Okay, we now have a public hearing on a perpetual electric easement with Interstate Power and Light Company located on a 100-foot wide strip of land along the former Iowa Railway and Light Company right-of-way and part of the northeast quarter of northwest quarter of Section 12-83-07, Lynn County, Iowa, and part of the southeast quarter of the southwest quarter of Section 1-83-7, Lynn County, Iowa, bound by the northerly right-of-way line of Highway 100 on the south and by the southerly right-of-way of Grand Avenue on the north, for the right, privilege, and authority to construct, reconstruct, maintain, operate, repair, patrol, and remove electric and telecommunications lines consisting of poles, towers, cross arms, insulators, wires, guy wires, and other necessary fixtures and equipment. So we will open the public hearing. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak for this matter? Anyone in favor of this measure? Is there anyone who wishes to speak against this measure? Seeing none, we close the public hearing. Discussion? Or we need the resolution.
Yes, Your Honor, I move to approve Resolution 25158, approving a perpetual electric easement with Interstate Power and Light Company located on a 100-foot wide strip of land along the former Iowa Railroad and Light Company right-of-way and part of the northeast quarter, northwest quarter of Section 128307, Lynn County, Iowa, and part of the southeast quarter, southwest quarter section of 18307, Lynn County, Iowa, bounded by the northerly right-of-way line of Highway 100 on the south and by the southerly right-of-way of Grand Avenue on the north, for the right, privilege, and authority to construct, reconstruct, maintain, operate, repair, patrol, and remove electrical and telecommunication lines consisting of poles, towers, cross arms, insulators, wires, guy wires, and other necessary fixtures and equipment.
Second.
Why couldn't you have drawn a picture, Mike?
It's been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 25158.
I would have just said, as mentioned before.
Any discussion?
I guess I didn't think about guy wires. Are there any guy wires that go across the pit trail?
They don't go across the trail, but there are some that are adjacent to it, but none that impact the trail.
Don't go across and impact anything?
No.
Okay, thanks.
And I should have asked for if there was anything to present. I'm sorry, but does anyone? We all know what this is. Does anyone need? Okay. Okay, any other discussion? All those in favor of resolution number 25158, approving the perpetual electric easement with Interstate Power and Light Company, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. And please reflect that I abstain from discussion and voting on this. Thank you. We have another public hearing at this time regarding the 2016 Fairview Drive reconstruction project. So we'll open the public hearing. Is there any information to present on this? No? Okay. Anyone in the audience who wishes to speak in favor of this project?
I'm Bill Gruber from 1000 Fairview Drive.
Sir, can you please state your last name again, sir? What's your last name?
What's going to happen to the trees that you're going to dig up, put the sidewalk in along there? And another thing is parking. My wife has just got 2 new knees put in. She can't hardly walk across the street. How's she going to park down in Hannah Park and walk back and forth? That'll be it.
Sir?
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 I'm sorry, I didn't catch your last name.
Gruber.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else who wishes to speak in favor of this measure? Anyone who wishes to speak against the measure? Okay. We'll close the public hearing.
Right. Your Honor, I move to approve resolution number 25159, accepting bids and awarding contract to Rachi Construction Company regarding the 2016 Fairview Drive reconstruction project in the amount of $438,819.10.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 25159, accepting bids and awarding contract to Rachi Construction Company regarding the 2016 Fairview Drive reconstruction project in the amount of $438,819.10. Discussion. So what about the trees?
I'm not sure there's very many coming out. I guess I can't answer that question. We will typically take them out, anything that's out in the right-of-way, and we'll only take out the ones that are necessary to construct the project. There are not plans right now to do a tree planting in this area, but it's something we could look at if staff or if council would like us to.
I mean, I think if a lot of trees are removed, we should look at.
Yeah, I didn't bring the plans with me, but we don't typically take out very many, so I'm not sure how many are along there.
Would that urban forest fund kind of take care of replacing, I would think, maybe?
Mike?
Actually, it would. We do have a program in place right now that if we do go in and remove trees within the right-of-way, the tree board will go out and look at those areas, and then we will do a replant. We typically try to do that with if it's possible, in any area that we do remove a tree.
Okay. I hope that answers your question, sir, about the trees.
I know somebody mentioned on Tuesday about having something to go into the area to get people, help them get in and out. Was that?
We're working with the residents there to provide access as best we can. We do have a gator that provides for garbage pickup and so forth, and we've had the same situation in previous construction projects that we've been able to manage it.
I don't think you want to refer to his wife as garbage. I don't think so.
I don't think we'll stick her in a gator either, so there you go.
Any other discussion on this resolution?
Are any of those trees ash trees down there, Mike? Or do you know?
That I don't know, Joe.
Okay.
Any further discussion? All those in favor of resolution number 25159, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, please say no. We have another public hearing at this time regarding the 2016 HMA resurfacing project. So we'll open the public hearing. Anything to add to what we've already been?
No, it was presented on Tuesday,
If you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer them.
Okay. Anyone in the audience who wishes to address the council on this resolution? Anyone for? Anyone in favor of the resolution? Is there anyone who wishes to speak against this resolution? Close the public hearing. Mr. Draper? No, I'm sorry, Mr. Nabb.
Your Honor, I make motion to resolve for resolution number 25160, accepting bids and awarding contract to LL Pellin Company Incorporated regarding the 2016 HMA resurfacing project in the amount of $912,293.60.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 25160, accepting bids and awarding contract to LL Pelling Company regarding the 2016 HMA resurfacing project in the amount of $912,293.60. Discussion.
Dan, just so the public knows, you put out bids and you only received this one, is that correct?
We typically, pretty much always, only receive one bid because there's only one contractor in the area.
Yeah. But that was the only bid you got back then?
Yeah, and we compare them to other areas and so forth. They're competitive.
And it came back under estimate.
Yes.
There's 12 streets total.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. Any discussion?
Nope.
All those in favor of resolution number 25160, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. Motion passes.
Your Honor, I'd make a motion that we receive and file a request of waiver of either the code for septic tanks or the subdivision to allow a septic tank to be fixed. Jerry Sinks, Judy Lambert, at 2489 Highway 13.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to receive and file a request to waive the code for septic tank or the subdivision. That doesn't make sense. The subdivision ordinance to allow for a septic
Waive the code or the subdivision.
to be fixed.
That's the way the letter was
Yes.
worded. We will be recommending the waiver of the septic tank repair. Lynn County is supportive of that. It's a glitch between our code and the Lynn County code. So.
Okay.
This is an area we just annexed, wasn't it?
No. Well, a long time ago.
Yeah, this is about 2000, 2001.
Or was it subdivided or something like
They have attempted to subdivide it, and the costs were pretty substantial. That's the $65,000 in the letter. They have now regrouped and are trying to get the septic tank fixed so they can sell the property.
But the subdivision didn't cause this problem then?
Because the house is more than 250 feet from the sewer. However, the property line is not. So in the city, if they're within 250 feet of the property line in the sewer, they have to hook up if the septic tank goes bad. In the county, it's 250 feet from the house. So they're in that group where they decided last year to go through subdivision. However, they found out the costs associated with that, with sewer installation, water installation, subdivision, found that was about $65,000. So they're absentee owners. They now would like to have council waive the requirement to hook up and just fix the septic tank. And Lynn County Health is in favor of that, support of that.
Okay, so you'll be coming back with a...
We'll have a report next time and ask for approval.
All right. Any other discussion on this motion to receive and file? All those in favor of the motion to receive and file the request, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no.
Motion carried?
Motion carries.
Thank you. Your Honor, I move to approve Resolution 25,161, approving an agreement regarding professional services for preliminary platting in the Central Corridor along 7th Avenue from Holland Hall Engineers Incorporated.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 25161, approving an agreement regarding professional services for preliminary plating in the Central Corridor along 7th Avenue. Discussion? All those in favor of resolution number 25161, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. The motion passes.
Ordinance number 16-01, amending the Marion Code of Ordinances regarding a request to rezone property located south of Echo Hill Road and west of Albernet Road from A1 rural restricted to R2 medium density single family residential. DX4 Investments Incorporated, final consideration.
Joe seconded. Okay. It has been moved and seconded to approve ordinance number 16-01, amending the Marion Code of Ordinances regarding a request to rezone property located south of Echo Hill Road and west of Albernet Road from A1 rural restricted to R2 medium density single family residential. Any discussion? Okay. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. Thank
Your
you.
Honor, I abstain from this one.
Okay.
Yes, Your Honor, I move to approve Resolution 25128, reapproving Bedford Heights Addition preliminary plat for property located south of Echo Hills Road and west of Albernet Road, DX4 Investment and Company.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 25128, reapproving Bedford Heights Addition preliminary plat for property located south of Echo Hill Road and west of Albernet Road. Discussion?
Why is it worded reapprove? I mean, we did.
Well, Tom explained that. Go ahead.
We, the 2 weeks ago, when we weren't able to waive the third reading of the rezoning, we got eager and approved it, and we just want to keep it, I guess, keep it honest and just reapprove it so we're not approving it ahead of the zoning. So it's just a little housekeeping.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Thanks.
Any further discussion on this? All those in favor of resolution number 25128, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no.
Once again, abstaining.
Motion passes with one abstention.
Your Honor, I move to approve resolution number 25129, reapproving a request for waiver of subdivision regulations to allow division of property by plat of survey number 2026, parcel A and B, for transfer purposes only for property located south of Echo Hill Road and west of Albernet Road, DX4 Investments, LLC.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 25129, reapproving the request for waiver of subdivision regulations to allow division of property by plat of survey number 2026, parcel A and B, for transfer purposes only for property located south of Echo Hill Road and west of Albernet Road. Any discussion?
This is the same thing as the previous
Yes.
resolution?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
All those in favor of this motion, to approve resolution number 25129, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no.
Abstention again.
Motion passes with one abstention.
Yes, Your Honor, and then Resolution 25130, reapproving request for waiver of subdivision regulations to allow division of property by plat of survey number 2027, partial A and B, for transfer purposes only for property located south of Echo Hill Road and west of Albernet Road, DX4 Investments, LLC.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 25130, reapproving a request for waiver of subdivision regulations to allow division of property by plat of survey number 2027, parcel A and B, for transfer purposes only for property located south of Echo Hill Road and west of Albernet Road. Discussion? All those in favor of resolution number 25130 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no.
Once again, my abstaining.
And the motion passes with one abstention.
Get you trained yet?
You're getting there.
Your Honor, I make a motion for resolution number 25162, approving and recommendation for the Local Option Sales Tax Advisory Committee regarding a $250,000 allocation for the Grant Wood Trail Extension Project.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 25162, approving a recommendation from the Local Option Sales Tax Advisory Committee regarding a $250,000 allocation for the Grant Wood Trail Extension Project. Discussion. No discussion? All those in favor of resolution number 25162, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. The motion passes.
You want these individual or is that?
That's however you want to do it.
Your Honor, I make the following mayoral appointments for Dustin Kern, who just ducked out of here, for the Planning and Zoning Commission, term expiring 12/31 of 2020, and for Paul Wren, former mayor, Civil Service Commission, term to expire 4/1/2018.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to appoint Dustin Kern to the Planning and Zoning Commission with a term expiring December 31st, 2020, and to appoint Paul Wren to the Civil Service Commission with a term expiring April 1, 2018. Discussion. All those in favor of these appointments, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no.
Your Honor, I make the following mayoral reappointment of Grant Hagan for the Civil Service Commission for term expiring 4/1/2019.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to reappoint Grant Hagan to the Civil Service Commission for a term expiring April 1st, 2019. Discussion.
Yes, sir. There's a little bit of semantics involved here. You can't make a mayoral appointment since the mayor is sitting in his seat, but you can concur with his appointment.
Oh, okay. Well, that's what I did. I concurred.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. Okay.
Your Honor, I would, Grant is in the House tonight. I'd like to thank him for his service and continuing it.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Okay, all those in favor of the reappointment of Grant Hagan to the Civil Service Commission, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The motion passes. Congratulations, sir. Thank you.
He says, thank you, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, discussion.
Oh, you betcha. You know that. Since Joe kind of stole my thunder as far as congratulating Ron, who, yes, you did, as the building official of the year, I would like to reiterate that. Secondly, I would like to congratulate the Marion girls basketball team and the Linmar girls basketball team on their wins and wish them further good luck in the tournament. Secondly, the southwest corner of 3rd Avenue and 10th Street, I think, God, I hope it's a daycare center because there's enough stuff out there, and the fences that are in place are eyesores. Can we check on something?
I believe Neil was working on that one before he passed away, and we're going to have to follow up with Matt Newhouse is working on that now, and I think I'm supposed to get involved in it as well, but we've just been a little.
Okay, so
it's in works. We're just kind of trying to get caught up now with that position. So.
And I would like to remind the Uptown merchants that the parking lot that holds the fitness center, MJ's, the fine crafts type stuff, all this is a private parking lot, and it is not technically open for just general parking. And I've had complaints from the renters on that property that people are parking in there and then going to other businesses. So I know that one of the businesses has talked to the owner about perhaps installing some kind of arm thing that would issue a ticket, and then they would have to have somebody from the inside of that parkade verify that they in fact did use the parking lot. So, and I have not heard further on that. And lastly, I would like to reiterate about this roundabout at 15th Street and 6th Avenue. I don't know when this got put in the plans, and I know that, I don't know that there was ever any vote taken on it or a public hearing heard about it, and I would really like to encourage parents north of 7th Avenue to voice their opinions on this, because I cannot think that they are going to be happy with their kids having to deal with a roundabout on their way to school. I am finished.
You'd like to see a video of the roundabout for pedestrians?
I don't want to see. Listen, I have nothing against roundabouts. I just think that they should not be put in existing neighborhoods, and I don't think that they are being built to the size that they should be to make them the most efficient.
Okay. I have a video that I can play for you to show you how pedestrian friendly it is.
You don't know kids, do you?
Well,
I taught for
I had
15 years. I know kids.
Anyway.
Yep.
I wanted to thank Amanda and Luann and everyone that's worked on the budget in line. I don't know how many hours you guys spent on it, but I know it was a bunch. So thank you very much for doing that and answering some dumb questions, too.
Anything?
I have a couple things here. One is I want the general public to be aware we are going to be having, and this is hosted by administration, the 7th and 7th roundabout will be here in the council chambers, a public open house for that. That will be hosted at 5:30. That will be March 22nd. One other thing, too, is I also sit on the board of directors for the Uptown Marion, and I have asked and also talked to Tom Trahern in reference to this, to be brought before the chamber, or excuse me, before the council, that in the future, I know there's some things that are being changed as far as policies and procedures, but anytime we would have funding, or maybe even outside of the scope of funding, that would include restoration to buildings on the outside, including paint, color, finishes, that those be brought before the council, and also to include what's called an elevation view. We want to make sure that we're kind of cleaning some of this stuff up. We've had some experiences in the past where we were being told that the fascias to some of these buildings were going to be facilitated with stone, when in fact it wasn't. It was just kind of some simulated block and mortar. So some of these things are going to be coming around, and I want the council to be aware of that I'm asking that to be brought back before us, and there's going to be some discussion about that as well, too, just so we can kind of clean that up a little bit, so that we don't have things going on. Uptown is getting very active about what's going to be taking place up here on 7th Avenue, especially with the shovels going on the ground for our roundabouts, and we want to make sure we got some continuity going through here as far as what this is going to look like. We're also asking for some of the Main Street Iowa District to get involved with that as well, too, to help with us to facilitate some of these colors and some guidance, if you will, as far as what we should have as far as some staple items, how windows will be placed, whether they're wood, whether they're metal, sash, things of that nature. So again, too, more to come on that. I just want the council to be aware of that I'm actually requesting that be brought forward, and that we're going to include that as part of some of the guidelines and procedures on that. That's all I have.
I'd like to say I appreciate how good the Maid-Rite building is looking with the new facade across the top. That's a great improvement. And to go with your downtown district, as a downtown business building owner, I would like to see them pass a SMID tax to allow some improvements that they desire to make. And I know it would cost me some money on my taxes, but I think a district tax is something that other cities use well, and we certainly could too. So I'd encourage you to improve them, ask them to do that. In addition to that, we have a fellow that we presented a key to the city to last year, Cedar Rapids resident, unfortunately, but always a Marion at heart resident, Bert Katz, and today is his 94th birthday. And if the city does such things, I'd love to see him mail a birthday card to Bert. I think that would be a nice gesture on our part. And to reach the age of 94 after going through Normandy and the things he's done in his life, that's a monumental thing. So, other thing I have, and the last thing, and Councilman brought it up on the roundabout at 15th. I have been one who I've read everything Dan has given me. I've studied on the internet roundabouts. I took a day and I drove to Wisconsin and went around 11 of them. Wisconsin leads the nation. I decided on my own that Dan's literature was right on, and he would agree that design has everything to do with them, particularly in the pedestrian safety area. They have to be large enough in the middle for kids to get across. They have to be large enough between traffic lanes for a mother with a child in a stroller or a bicycler to do it. Well, as we learned Tuesday at our meeting, as we went over the one at 15th Street, the thought occurred to me as I went home that night of the property we're buying and things that the council is committed to, previous councils. It's mind-boggling to me what the cost is going to be. And everybody's doing their job. Engineering's doing their job. Planning is doing their job in planning this. But I'd like some idea, wild idea, of what it's going to cost to move businesses, to buy the property for this 15th Street roundabout. And I understand, I'm not against it. I just want to know, 2 of us have to run in 2 years, or 3 of us, and all of us within the next 4. We need to explain spending money at some point. And I'm wondering if we can't get some idea of how much dollars we're spending for that roundabout at 15th, and from engineering if there's any other alternative that would cost far less money and still be safe for pedestrians and traffic. That's all I have, Your Honor.
I just want to remind everyone that the council continues to have office hours every Saturday, 9:30 to 11:30 at the public library. It's been going very well. Citizens are welcome to stop by and visit with council members, share their thoughts and ask questions. I also want to point out that the Maidright building, when I saw the windows changed, that made a huge improvement, I thought, and then to see the cornices go up, that was really exciting. It's nice to see that project coming along. I had the pleasure last week of meeting with Alice Lau, Mike, and several of her family members, daughters, went to Lau Park, and I went there at their request and met with them. Mike shared the master plan for the park, and they were thrilled. Alice was just really happy. She was thrilled with the plan, with the fact that the park is being used, and with the entire concept and the layout of the park. The only thing they said was George would have wanted it done in one day, and wouldn't understand why it's taking so long to develop the park. But other than that, they really were happy and thrilled with the entire concept and the plan of the park. So just wanted to share that. If there's nothing further, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you.